What's the most heartbreaking thing that has happened to you in jail? I was arrested after making the dumb mistake of driving without a driver's license, and telling the officer that I didn't have my license on me, and gave him my sister's name and birth date. I was charged with misdemeanor probation violation, with the original charge being criminal impersonation, and was in jail waiting to go to court. I had never been in any legal trouble before I made the abominably stupid idea to try to trick the officer out of giving me a ticket for driving without a license. About 4 weeks into my incarceration, I began getting severe headaches. It got so bad that I put in a request to go to medical and see the jail's physician assistant. After seeing her for the first time and describing the pain that I felt in my nose that spread to the top of my head, I was told that I was suffering from a sinus infection. I accepted that as a plausible explanation, and took the antibiotics that were prescribed to me. A week went by and the pain was getting worse, not better. I again requested to go to the medical, and was again seen by the PA. I told her the pain was getting severe, that it had spread to the side of my face and the back of my neck, and asked to be taken to the hospital. The PA told me that she was not sending me to the hospital, that hospital visits were only reserved for emergencies, and she had concluded I had an impacted tooth. A day went by and I was in complete agony. I was unable to move my head even the slightest bit without feeling as if my entire head would explode. The pain was so bad that I couldn't eat, sleep, and basically laid on my bunk sobbing. I begged every officer on shift to help me. Different sergeants were called in to talk to me, and I begged them to send me to the hospital, but was always refused. About 9 days after my headaches began, I developed double vision. I told the nurse that was handing out meds that I had constant double vision. I remember telling her, "There's 2 of you." I was instructed to put in a slip to request to go to the doctor. A few hours after the double vision began, I was talking to another inmate when she went, "Oh my God, your eyes. They've shifted." I went into my cell and looked into the mirror, and was horrified to see that I had gone cross-eyed. I had been calling my mom every day telling her that I knew something was very wrong with me. After seeing that I had gone cross-eyed, I called my mom, hysterically told her I was cross-eyed, and asked her to call the jail and see if she could persuade them to take me to the hospital. Everyone my mom called and spoke to on the phone or talked to in person at the jail would assure her that I was getting adequate medical care. I requested to speak with a sergeant, and after about an hour one showed up to talk to me. I showed him my eyes, told him my vision was doubled, told him I was in the worst pain of my life, and pleaded with him to send me to the hospital. I told him that I knew something was seriously wrong, that I knew if I wasn't treated soon I would die. To which he said, "Oh, I didn't know that you're a doctor." He laughed. "Go back to your cell, you can go to the medical in the morning." The next morning, after about my 10th sleepless, agonizing night, I discovered I could no longer walk properly. Instead of my normal stride, I was now walking with small shuffled steps. I felt very unbalanced, like everything was spinning. I was on a second-story tier, and it was nearly impossible for me to get down the stairs. I was again sent to medical, and this time I was told that I was not going to the hospital, to stop bothering the COs and sergeants, and that all this was your own fault for taking other inmates' medication. I was completely stunned, and adamantly denied that I had taken anyone else's medication. The PA said that I must have, that it was the only explanation for my eyes going cross, and that it was obviously a drug reaction. I cried and told her it wasn't true, that it was something neurological, and begged to go to the hospital. I told her that I was positive I was going to die, and begged her to save me. Cold as ice, she called in the officer and said, "Take her back to her cell. Tell everyone to stop bringing her here. She's wasting my time." I felt absolutely helpless. I was sure that I was gravely ill and that the jail administration was just going to let me die in my cell, alone and scared, in complete agony. I was moved to the ground floor as a safety precaution, and laid on my bunk basically waiting to either become unconscious or die. The other inmates became involved, told staff they had to help me, but were met with deaf ears. About 2 hours later I remember adjusting my head, and I immediately felt a pain in my head and neck that